All right, today is a very, very exciting day. Whoop, don't break it, because we are going to be bolting our two new Oceanvolt servo props into UMA.
Oh,
We sent in our old motor to get refurbished, and now we've got two back and basically two new motors back to install.
Starboard is on the right side, right?
we really did like completely forget everything.
This is going to be like our third and fourth, or fourth and fifth Oceanvolt we've installed. Puts us pretty high up on the list of certified Oceanvolt installation specialists, I think.
We have to pull the cable back out.
Hopefully that's not an issue. All right. A bit of a recap. 10, 11 years ago when we bought our boat, it came with a non-working diesel engine in it, which we decided to rip out because neither one of us really liked having a tractor engine in the middle of our living room. And we decided to build our own electric motor to basically replace like a sculling oar on our boat, because our boat's 36 feet, so it's actually small enough you could actually row it in and out of anchorages. Back then, the supplies were limited and so were the funds, and so we ended up finding a forklift motor on eBay for about $100. We combined that with some golf cart parts and a golf cart controller, golf cart batteries, and for the first 2 years when we sailed around the Caribbean, that's all we had to push our boat. It was capable of moving our boat for about 15 minutes, and we didn't really have a good way to charge the batteries back up if they were depleted, because the solar we had was enough to run our house loads but not really charge up our battery bank. In fact, for the first couple of months, we could only have the motor or solar, because our solar was at 12 volts and the whole boat was at 12 volts and the motor's at 48, and we literally had to rewire the battery bank in order to use the motor. Basically, we never used our motor for the first couple of months. When we were done our loop of the Caribbean, we made it back to Florida, which is where we were finally able to get some lithium batteries on board. So we were able to motor for more like an hour or so, although we never really motored that long because our motor would overheat long before the batteries were dead. And we still didn't have any regen, so we still had a hard time charging our batteries back up if we used the motor a lot. And that's the system that we crossed the North Atlantic with, and we never used our motor on the North Atlantic crossing because we were sailing the whole time. So when we made it to the UK, we were able to get our hands on a used Oceanvolt sail drive, so the one with the folding like gory propeller. And we had that for the UK and through the Netherlands and all the way up the coast of Norway. It was much better, it was much more efficient, and it didn't overheat, so we could actually use it without overheating the motor. However, we still couldn't really get any viable regen out of it just because our boat was a little bit too slow. And also the folding propeller, it's just not that good at regen. It technically can do it, but it's not really designed for it. We finally were able to install an Oceanvolt servo prop on our boat in Tromsø in 2021, and that was right before we sailed up to Svalbard. So for the first time since we got our boat, we were able to, motor out of a slip or through a fjord, and then while we're out sailing, we could actually charge our batteries back up. And the first couple of tests we did on our way to Svalbard were fantastic. We arrived in Svalbard with full batteries. So the servo prop made a huge difference because it is a variable pitch propeller, which means it feathers when you're sailing, and then forward, reverse, and regen all have their own separate pitch that's programmable. So these motors are specifically programmed to our boat and our boat speed, and if they were on a different boat, they'd be programmed differently. And we can like tweak it and modify it if we need to dial it in once we're actually out sailing. We had the servo prop from Norway up to Svalbard, Iceland, and then down into the Mediterranean. So I think it's been 3 years we had this motor installed on our boat. It was worked really, really well. We've gone through quite a few software updates along the way because we sort of beta test new software for Oceanvolt when it comes out. And the last software update we got right before we took the motor out, right before we disconnected all of our electrics when we went to go take our mast out, just with that one software update, we're able to gain a pretty significant bump in efficiency, which is pretty cool. So during the demo of UMA, we kept the motor in for a long time thinking that we weren't going to need to take it out because it was mounted, we knew we were going to keep it. However, along the way, we decided to add a second motor for a couple of reasons. We definitely don't need it to make the boat go faster. That's not how displacement hulls work. And running two motors at half speed is the equivalent of running one motor at full speed, if that makes sense. So we're not really gaining efficiency when we're motoring. But what we are gaining is doubling our regen. So when we're out sailing, we'll get twice as much power. And we're gaining significant maneuverability advantages when we're docking, which is going to be pretty sweet. We'll be able to dock UMA like a catamaran. The other thing that we're designing into this system, since we have two, is really robust redundancy. So that one motor could fail or get a line caught around the prop or have a software issue, like whatever could go happen with one, we'll still have the other. And we're designing that into the battery management system as well. So it's pretty cool that we're going to be able to have two. And we're excited to get our old motor back because we like it. And we have a new motor. So once we ripped our old motor out, we actually sent it to Oceanvolt for them to refurbish. They made a couple of upgrades with the whole system since we installed this one. And so a couple of bits inside changed. We're not really sure what. They also did a good job cleaning it up. New anodes, greased up the prop. And the new motor looks pretty much the same. There's a slightly different design in the propeller, it looks like, but they should function the same way. Today, we're just going to be bolting these motors into the boat and bolting the servo props on the bottom. We're not going to be running any of the electrical yet because we still have a bunch of more work to do inside the boat. But this way, they'll at least be on the boat and not sitting out in front of the container. And we'll just be one step closer to getting the boat done. The difficult part of installing these is already done. Back when we were working on the interior a couple of months ago, we glassed in the new mounting beds. And we made those compartments all nice and watertight. So now all we really need to do is just set these motors in, bolt the skegs on the bottom, and that'll be it for now. So it should be a pretty quick process. I think I'm ready to install these. You ready to install these?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. This is gonna be like our, what, third and fourth or fourth and fifth Oceanvolt we've installed? Puts us pretty high up on the list of certified Oceanvolt installation specialists, I think.
Starboard is on the right side, right? It's been a while since we've gone sailing, and I this up all the time because I'm dyslexic. Every time I'm like, yeah, we're gonna pull up on the starboard side. Kika's like, you mean port side? I'm like, yes. It's only been 10 years.
You got this.
That one's gonna go here.
Right. Maybe this is gonna be easier from inside.
Probably would be, actually.
I think it's gonna be easy. Hey, I've got a good idea. I think it's gonna be easier from the inside.
Let's try to get this thing in here now. There's a seam. Let's put that on the side. Oh yeah, that's much easier from inside. That'll keep our boat from sinking. Done. Nice. Look, it kind of fits. I think I'm going to put one of these through just to make sure we don't mess anything up too bad. And then the other one will be easier to put in later.
So what's the next step?
Now we need to take this. So the reason that these servo props are so good at regen is because they have a variable pitch propeller. And that variable pitch propeller is controlled by a second electric motor that's sealed down inside of the servo prop. It has its own control cables that come up through the skeg into the motor. And so we need to feed those cables up through here. And then this is like a braided, just like a piece of braided cable sleeve. And so we put the cables in there and then use that like a snake and pull them through while we like slide the skeg on from the outside, which is pretty cool. And then the whole thing is bathed in cooling oil, so it stays lubricated. And if for some reason ocean water ever got in there, it wouldn't really do any damage because it's got a bunch of oil in there. All right, let me see if I can get this in from the outside.
Can you see it?
Oh, yeah, I see it. I can probably just grab... Yeah, I see it, but you have to keep... Oopsie. You have to keep pushing.
It's stuck on something. Can you not get it?
Not with my fingers. Oh, I see it. I can probably get it. Okay, push. Yeah, it's through. I just have to, like, get it out of the... I got it. Oh.
Just pull
All right, that's probably good.
All right, now that the motor is sitting inside of the boat, we can bolt the skeg on from the outside. We ran the little cable, the little braided sleeve through, so we can pull this bundle of cables up through as we go. And they also include 2 super long bolts, so we can use those to kind of hold it in place while we make sure that cable's not getting crimped. The only difficulty is that they're designed to kind of, like this whole system of mounting is designed for boats. Generally speaking, most Oceanvolts get installed with gravity holding them straight down, the skeg. But since ours is on an angle, hopefully that's not an issue, but we'll see. I'm gonna need your help now though.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we're just gonna like hold it up in place and try to get those 2 long bolts on. And hopefully it doesn't apply like crazy amounts of torque. We should have enough gap in between that we can put the O-rings on after and work the cable out after, and then kind of work it up into place.
Okay.
So let's try that first.
Should we remove this so that this kind of feeds through first?
I would take the Velcro off just so it's hanging loose. Yeah, do you want to do that? Yeah, and just let it hang loosely. And then for now, they are going to be pointing backwards. Let me do a glove, just because I'm going to be a little bit greasy.
Okay, good.
And luckily these things really don't weigh that much. All right, can you kind of help hold this up from the bottom? Yeah. And
Don't let go.
up more. Let's try to get it like, got it? I should probably be the one holding it, and you should probably be the one putting bolts in. All right, tip it up and away from the center.
It's too enough to like.
Yeah, slide it down. See how that's gonna work.
Oh.
Let go?
Yeah, we're gonna need.
Let go?
It's rotating everything.
All right, that's good enough. That'll be good enough.
You sure?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's why I put the bolt in it from the other side. All right, so now,
It makes me nervous to have it like hang like this.
I mean, it's not gonna do anything. Like, you're not gonna break the bolt, it's not heavy enough.
No, I meant like the whole thing falls down.
It won't, because in order to do that, you have to break the bolts. Which it's not gonna do. Put a little bit of grease on that, just for now. All right, now we just put the O-rings on. This is the one that keeps it sealed where the oil goes in. And this is the one that seals the whole thing. Now we need to take this cable and shove it in the end of this sleeve. There we go. Put some tape on that. Oops. All right, that should, yeah, it's gonna Chinese finger trap that just nicely.
Okay, you ready?
Ready? Nice and slow.
Yep.
Yeah. Keep going. A little bit more. All right, that's good. Nice. So meow.
Are you saying meow?
Am I saying meow?
I think what might happen is I might be the one kind of pushing this up from the outside while you kind of tug the cable and keep it taut from the inside. So you just need to like, I'm just gonna like push it up and slide it up on these bolts, right? And then, yeah, I'm gonna hold it in place.
I'll just make sure that they're.
And you're gonna pull this, you're gonna
Through.
pull this cable through and kind of keep it tight and kind of just wiggling. Don't pull hard, you know, just like snug enough that it goes up through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, love you.
Meow.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I think you could actually come down.
Okay.
That cable's not going anywhere now. All right, that feels pretty good. All 4 bolts are temporarily in, and this is secure. So now I'm just gonna like snug them up while Kika turns the propeller to make sure we're not like pinching anything. And then once they're all snug, I can take them out, put the lock washers on them, put some Loctite on them, put them up, do a temporary torque, and then go around and torque all of them to their final spec.
Good though.
Goes smoothly after the 4th or 5th time installing one, you know? It's like we're seasoned veterans. Yeah, that feels solid to me. All right, final torque done. Now I just need to go put the 2 bolts on inside and move on to the next one. It's going really quick. I like it. Beautiful. All right, first one's in. The other one's going underneath the galley, which means we need to cut a hole in the bulkhead that we put in there originally, because we just haven't done that yet. So first we need to cut a hole, then we can install the motor. So it's gonna be like a little bit more complicated than this one. All right, hopefully that's enough space to install a motor. About to find out. So underneath here is where the other Oceanvolt needs to be mounted. And somewhere about here is this bulkhead underneath it. It looks like we have a ton of space, and right now we do have a ton of space. The problem is somewhere right parallel with this cutout is where our fridge/freezer is going to be. And what we don't want to do is cut a big giant hole in here, install the motor, put the freezer in, and then not be able to get the motor back out again for some reason in the future if we ever need to take the motor back out again. So from what we measured, the plan is to cut like a small hole and put the motor in kind of like sideways and then install it. I'm hoping that that's enough space. The other issue is that eventually we're going to have another cross member here for like a little cover for the sink, and then this is going to be a big drawer. So we do have a little bit of measuring and planning to make sure that we're not backing ourselves into a corner. And then once that's sorted out, we can cut out something about that big and hopefully be able to install a motor through that hole. And then we'll have to build some sort of custom hatch or plate or something to cover it to keep it watertight. That's the plan.
Well, one thing that we still have to do before we can install the motor on the starboard side is glass underneath that piece of plywood that we just cut a hole out of, because when we installed that piece of plywood, we installed it as like one single giant piece, and which means we didn't glass underneath it yet, because what we want to do is have the Oceanvolt compartments be watertight. In order to do that, we want to glass all up inside of it. So we're gonna do that right now, and then hopefully it cures today. Then we're gonna slap a coat of primer on it, and then we'll be ready to put the Oceanvolt motor on.
How's it going in there?
It's a really difficult angle. Okay.
Done?
As, as done as I can be in there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Good job.
Whew. Well, you said something like, ooh.
Yeah, fancy, right?
Yes.
Good job. It's like a terribly awkward position to glass in.
My ribs are sore. Because like I'm just leaning over upside down somehow.
All right.
But yeah, this looks sealed.
Fine.
It's fine. Everything
Hopefully
is
it dries
fine.
today and we can prime it and finish putting the Oceanvolt on.
Yeah,
All right.
that's the idea.
Let it sit for an hour.
Cool.
Nice.
Alrighty.
Glass looks good. Primer looks good. So now we can install the last motor. This is technically our old motor, and hopefully it fits through this hole. Otherwise, kind of have to replant everything. So same process as before. I'm gonna grease up the big giant O-ring, stick it in there, set the motor down from inside, bolt the skeg on from the outside, and that's it. It's pretty easy.
I like your t-shirt.
Yeah.
In case people were curious who you are and, you know.
Is this the one that has like all the graphics on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kika just keeps sending me samples of things. So they basically all turn into work shirts. This one's not available on our store, I don't think. Should it be? Do you like that?
No, there's
We
too
like
many.
that logo?
It's either this
Or
or
this.
this
Or this.
this, but it's not going to be all of them. It's like, I'm representing Sailing Uma.
Just in case you were confused. It's time to put in our old motor. I hope it fits. Okay, we're golden. Look at that. Stretch, it's so heavy. It's like 20 kilos. Okay. Can you just hold that there?
Or maybe you hold it and I thread it. I can't just pick it up.
Yes, you can. It's not that heavy.
Ugh.
Shrinking.
It's not a good angle. I need to put it on my shoulder. Because it's not just like lifting, it's lifting above me, you know, which makes it harder.
This one's backwards. Let me go this side.
Should I flip with you?
Oh, it's so greasy.
Yeah, it really is.
I can kind of lift a little bit from the bottom. Bring it out.
Here it goes.
Twist. Like back. There, hold it right there. Okay. Lower it back down. Slide it on the walls. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah. Alright, let go.
It's gonna rotate the motor,
Yeah, it's fine. That's why I put the bolt and the motor on the inside. Perfect. We need to thread it through though, so do you want to go inside with your little crimpers?
yeah.
And this time I'm going to put the tape on the tip so that it doesn't get all jizzity jacked.
Okay.
You see it?
I don't see anything. Oh yeah, I see it. You have to keep pushing. Oh yeah, I see it. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. And stop about there. Stop. Yeah, like that. All right, you want to try that?
Yeah.
Slow and smooth.
Got it.
Perfect. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Pull. Oh shit. Dum dum dance, added again. We really did like completely forget everything.
What?
We have to pull the cable back out. Why? Because I forgot to put the O-rings on. Oh my god.
Well, at least we didn't like install the whole thing and then realize that we forgot the.
Although that would also be kind of funny. It's pretty good. They're definitely like, visually they're a pretty similar angle pointing up. Because we have them angled up a little bit to match the contour of the hull, about 2 degrees down. And then they should be parallel to the keel and both facing forward. It's difficult to see that because the hull's curved and everything's curved, but we might line up some strings and try to measure it. Yeah, I like it. We're gonna have to clean the prop up a little bit, paint it eventually, but it's in, so it's pretty cool. How's she look?
She looks good.